Connie Warren, a resident of the town of Baldwin in the county of Cumberland and in the state of Maine. I, Deborah Wakefield, town clerk, consistent with the method of notification adopted by the town of Baldwin, certify that all directions are Constance Warren. I notified the voters of Baldwin of the time and place of the special town meeting by posting a true copy of the within mailing at town clerk's office, East Baldwin Post Office, West Baldwin Post Office, and the Baldwin Community Center, a conspicuous public place within Baldwin on June 17, 2025, which at least 7 days next prior to the election day. You are hereby required to notify more than the inhabitants of the town of Baldwin, in said county, qualified by law to vote in town affairs, to meet at the Baldwin Town Office on Tuesday, June 24th, 2005, at 6 o'clock in the evening, then and there to act on the following articles to wit. Article 1, to choose a moderator for said meeting.
Nominate Mobley.
Second.
Never did one, you never knew that, did you? Somebody else?
What, I'll do what? What do you do?
You just got his name pulled, and I'll maybe go like a second. I hope this. All right, George. You're up.
If this article passes, will you be able to get new britches?
More expensive, you know that.
I know.
Probably, yeah, more labor.
Yeah.
All right, you normally express you will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state, so long as you shall continue exhibiting thereof, so help you God.
Yes, I will.
Do you swear that you will faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent upon you as moderator for Baldwin, according to the Constitution and laws of the state, so help you God?
I will.
All right, I need just signature right there.
Well, okay. You should know what I have. Memorize.
There you go, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Article 2, 3/12 budget limit. To see if the town will vote to authorize the municipal officers to spend an amount not to exceed 3/12 of the fiscal year 25 budget amount in each category of the Baldwin annual budget during the period from July 1, 2025 to the September annual town meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments, discussion? Everybody know why we do this? It's a continuing resolution. Okay. Hearing no questions, further discussion. We'll take it to a vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Then there's opposed. The article passes unanimously. Moderator would entertain a motion to adjourn this excellent special town meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion to adjourn is not debatable. All those in favor of adjournment? There is opposed. Well done, thank you all.
Less than 5 minutes.
You wouldn't feel insulted, I'm gonna head home.
No.
I got a beverage waiting for me. Thank you much. Take care, Norman.
All right. We'll call the meeting to order. This thing is fuel bill. We got
Do all this stuff. I move that the minutes of the last meeting be approved as written.
Second.
I'll take it. Yeah.
accept the warrants as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Lord, man.
There. Now, we got one, Stephen Brown, and Jed thought this is a bill, so she actually got to open that. See, Stephen Brown would like to offer on the price sheet. Number 3, 9,500 gallons, fixed price would be $2,749. On road ULFD, 70,000 gallons, fixed price will be $3,129. Gallons are included from the original contract, the price will default to the following, the road up to 20 cents, cost plus 26 cents, heating oil cost plus 26 cents.
Oh, they didn't give it to us price per gallon?
No.
Really? Yeah, this price per gallon. So, heating oil is just that they gave us it's $2.07.
Okay.
4.9.
What goes with?
And then diesel is $30, what, 129.
What you need, Gary?
So, this is a pre-buy or a fixed price contract?
Yeah, it's good for 1 year.
What is the heating oil price?
The heating oil price is $2.749.
Yeah.
Yeah, are they the only one that bid?
Yeah.
Well, it's been, since we started bidding, I think they're the ones that have been.
Yeah.
There's somebody.
It's
The prices
unfortunate,
have been good.
Yeah.
the gas is higher than everybody else's, you know, so I know they give us a deal on that. but
Yeah.
It's unfortunate other people don't bid on it.
Yeah. Right. Next thing, general assistance hardship abatement.
We have to accept the bid,
Oh, yeah.
make a motion to accept the heating bill.
All in favor? Now the general assistance hardship abatement. We don't hear from the other owners of that?
Haven't heard from the other owners, and she hasn't heard, or gotten all of the information from the applicant.
Still waiting on that.
So, for a month timeline, you're supposed to respond within a month. We could formalize it by just writing a letter saying, your application has been denied due to lack of information. When you got it all, come back.
Okay.
And interestingly, the applicant is not in danger of being evicted or foreclosed on by the town.
Do we write that letter, or does
I can-
Dave write it? You write it?
Yes.
So back when I was on the board, we had Maurice Shepard. Do you have somebody who does, would they be involved in this, or this is
Yeah.
something you folks?
She has been, yeah.
You have a coordinator or something?
Yeah.
Somebody that Cumberland County hired and is doing it for what, 5 or 6 towns?
Yeah. Do you need to vote on that? State housing law.
They passed a new, the governor just signed a new housing law.
Which is?
Oh, goes on and on for days.
Complete takeover of our land use.
Pardon?
Complete takeover of our land use.
Well, they warned you what they were gonna do.
They're gonna
Yeah.
knock the planning board pretty much right out of it,
Yep.
and not fund any of it. So it just goes against another article of the Constitution.
Mandates unfunded.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So they got away with it with LD 2003, so I figured they could push it a little further.
Was there another law?
Yeah, look it up, it's grotesque.
You can have my copy.
If I can have yours, I've been fuming over
Was
it.
this the one where they were trying to close the holes that they didn't fix in LD 2003?
It's an expansion of it, basically, so you can go another story. Planning board, no planning board approval, 4 houses or less, don't even need you guys.
It impacts not only the land use ordinance, but the subdivision ordinance.
Yeah. So it's supposed implemented for small town July of 27, so it gives hopefully enough time for the election to come in and maybe get some of that crap thrown out, but other than that, it seems like to me, an all lawyer situation, but,
So don't worry about it for 2 years.
Yeah, well, that's just
No,
that,
no growth ordinances?
well, you gotta add 14 more permits to your already growth ordinance, so you gotta, you know, allow 4 to, what was it, 4 or 5 ADU units on a lot.
No, this one,
It was 4 or something,
it's just one, but you can have up to 4 houses on a lot.
Oh, how big a lot?
It depends. It doesn't say that there's a restriction on square footage per house
Right?
on a lot. So I think the way when we drafted our LD 2003, we said 2 acres for the next house and for the next house, right?
Right.
Well, this means you have, if you wanted to put 4 houses on it, you'd have to have at least 8 acres.
Right.
Was it 4 houses or 4 residents, 3 could be combined in 1 separate?
Details.
The real limitation. No, Wes, it's none of that, you gotta read the law.
The real limiting factor is leach field.
Yeah. That's
Well,
right.
Whatever.
Well, you can recycle water, you know.
So when you mention that, is it pertinent to ask the question, so you're dealing with a well, and you're dealing with a septic tank and all this, and now you're dealing with 4, do you not have to have adequate space to accommodate for all 4 of them, and just hodgepodge and everybody?
Yeah, it's like in
How-
the city.
You should be able to ask the question, if you're talking 4 houses, on a lot.
No, that's what our ordinances, I think last time were designed to accommodate the LD 2003 with requiring proper septic designs and.
Yes, yes.
There's a lot of things involved that people don't realize, one of them is, if you divide the space on the lot for a couple of houses, you wanna make sure they're spaced apart, so if 5-10 years down the road, maybe your relative has one of the houses, they want to buy that land and separate the land from the rest of it.
Then you're talking about
The houses
subdividing.
have to be far enough apart.
And then, damn it, they have kids, and they kids have kids, and then and you just created them.
But if you read it.
Where do you put all the kids? I mean, if you,
You can do a.
4 houses.
4-house lot, on a lot without subdividing, that's why it gets into the subdivision law, because
Right.
if you just divide your lot into 3 separate lots, then that is a subdivision. But if you put
Extra houses?
4 houses on your lot, that's not,
I got it.
so.
So does the rule still stand that the owner has to live on the premises?
No, they took that, I
That
think
was
they
the
take
original, I
that
don't know
out,
if
so,
it's changed,
yeah.
but if,
That's in the new law, is,
if you start taking your house and make 3 units out of it, and then add a little house off on the side, the landowner has to live on it.
no, that the law says you don't have to live there.
I was
just
told
think about
that.
it, you know.
There's a lot of stuff in there. It'll take the state probably until middle of 2000, whatever, just to figure out what the new rules are,
Go back to-
give guidance to everybody, how they.
Then they'll probably send people around and have, you know, lectures to a whole bunch of planning boards and
Yeah.
Well,
town offices.
It's mandatory training, so the planning board knows it.
Yeah,
I'm going
So they-
to ask
they,
for handouts.
Yeah. So they'll tell you exactly what they want you to do.
Yeah,
So what does the town have to do? Why is this on the agenda, just to
It
talk
just came
about
out, it just got signed, just to talk about, think about.
Okay.
And you could read them and know it's gift cards, you know?
yeah,
You hang in there for that.
I will, yeah.
Do you have a reference number, can we look it up?
You can have my copy, Don, if you want, and it's just basically a generic form of the original, see, it's LD 1829, but the actual law is something else now that it's been signed. And I'm sure there's a bunch more paragraphs to it somewhere. But, let me see what I wrote on the back, I made some numbers.
I wouldn't bother studying
Okay,
it
nothing
for
to
at
do.
least a year. It doesn't go into effect till 27,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be entirely different for the time they write up all the
Oh,
rules and
yeah,
regs.
it's just wasting our time and money.
Yeah, this is just a flag, it's gonna happen. Write it down in your diary for a year from now.
Yeah, they're gonna have to amend it, you know, they crammed it right through so quick, they didn't want even thought through. You know.
Yeah. And then they're gonna say it meant something different. Yeah,
Interpretation's a lot, you know, you know,
I get it.
Reminders, our planning board meeting Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Town office will be open Sunday, Saturday, and the town office will be closed Monday the 30th, fiscal year end closeout. Happy Thursday.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about dates. You know, last time I was here, we talked about having the comprehensive plan committee come in some evening.
Yep.
To jawbone about the, comprehensive plan and get some feedback on it and really find out how we can revise it or edit it in a way that it is a, more usable, functional tool for the selectmen rather than something that gets shelved. So get that dialogue going.
Yep.
And I wanted to find out what a good evening would be, to do that. You wanna do it on a Tuesday night when you have a workshop, or, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd love to, that would be okay.
Yeah, no, but,
Yeah, anytime, next Tuesday, maybe, if you want, if you get.
Which are your workshop Tuesdays?
This is a regular meeting tonight, so.
So the first,
Next Tuesday will be workshop.
Do we have to notice that if we get all the planning board and?
Oh, probably, sure, yeah.
yeah, so,
Yeah,
let's
so
see,
that-
so it won't be the first, it won't be
At least a month.
we could do it on the 15th or the 29th. Maybe the 29th. 29th,
Yeah.
Robin, that, the workshop on the 29th, and then, I'll, write up, an announcement to put in the, shopper's guide and, run that past you. And, see how many of the, comprehensive plan people can make it, because that gives them, a little bit more time to develop their.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
did I give you the right paper, Don?
I get it back in.
Okay.
Anything else from that? Good. Joe?
No, somewhere along the line, the last 27, 28 years, I lost my copy of the, trailer park ordinance. I don't know why in 28 years I couldn't keep track of it.
Well, the rest of those papers you have.
Yeah.
I've
Thank you
asked,
for looking.
I've asked our new CEO to attend those meetings,
Great,
if you can,
thank you.
so you guys could meet him and
Yes,
stuff.
great.
Anything else?
Nope.
Kathy?
Summer reading program is going well. We've got a whole bunch of little kids already signed up and excited about it. Some of them are coming from Cornish, they're joining the one over there, and the one for us, because they're Friday. And Dayton, and they will come. For the children.
It's not out of a van.
Yeah, right, exactly. So hopefully that'll help many of these little kids do more. Mary does a lot with her story time and the craft, but this sort of enforces some of those skills to get them ready for kindergarten or whatever their next grade level is, so I think that's gonna be helpful along those lines. The other is that the Baldwin Community Auxiliary is having their sale
Yeah.
on Saturday from 8 to 2.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll get a good crowd.
Yep.
Other than that, no, we're doing okay. Thanks.
Gary,
Well, I'm up on the mountain here, so it really doesn't, in and of itself isn't a big thing, but I wondered, we at one point, under the code enforcement officer, the number of vehicles you could have in your yard, and something about 3 if they were registered, and so I wonder if that's still in
it's still in fact, yeah.
existence. There's a few places around where you can kind of drive by and go,
He's up in Jeff County.
seems to be quite a few. Right. And the old one is used to be the Riley house across from, well, it used to be my dad's barn.
Yeah.
Up there heading towards West Walden. And just kind of glancing at, is that an operational garage there, or is it just next to Tony Haskell's house?
Oh. No, I don't think so.
I know at one point, and I always thought, I chuckled at it. Used to be the old, Gracie Woods store down there, Batch's Pizza
Yeah.
Place there. The guy out there, and somebody could ask him or whatever, he says, I just like to have junk cars. Well, but, you know, in of itself is not a big deal, because I'm up on the mountain and I don't,
Yeah.
it's just a ride, I go, I wonder if that's still in effect or not.
Yeah, that's that guy.
Talking about the house that's one from the corner of 107 and 13.
Hmm,
Yeah, I dealt with him.
yeah.
Yeah, he just wanted, I ended up sending two certified letters to him, he never answered them. So I made arrangements for him to come to the town meeting, and he never showed up. I found out the night before he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
So his son took over and got rid of all the cars.
Yeah, there's one in the back that always do that.
And then the only other thing, you know, I don't wanna get old and picky you about things, but the other thing kind of makes you go, is that down below from the post office, and I don't know whether that was Larry Seidel's or that trailer, the Strong property, but there's a Chevy pickup truck, and I gotta believe that the garbage bags in that truck, the helper springs on that vehicle, and no, I guess there must be rats going around there, that, because drive by sometime and look at that, and I don't know if the place is vacant, but shouldn't somebody move that at some point in time?
Yeah, I would think so.
I mean,
You talking that trailer right there between the post office and,
yeah, I'm trying to remember, it's not, I think it was Aggie.
they did own it.
It was their trailer, but there's a red pickup truck sitting out front there, and a pile of, I mean, it doesn't look like it's gold, it looks like it's garbage. And I was thinking, with the code enforcement officer or somebody, unfortunately, it probably comes back onto the landowner, or if the people vacated and under the cloak of darkness, that at some point we ought to clear it up, or, you know, get one of these trash haulers to just come in and, they don't wanna run it over to Tri-Town. I would think that would be a health hazard.
We have a couple of places like that in
The
town.
code enforcement officer usually handles something like that, but it's a real foggy line that where it's okay or it's too much. You know,
Right,
yeah.
when does it become too much?
Right.
And that's why you don't wanna give you a foggy line or too much, so, you know, if you don't do anything with it, I'm good with it, cause I'm up on the mountain.
In another case, we actually sent them a letter saying, you know, can you
Oh,
clean it up?
there you go.
But it didn't happen.
Other than that, I'm fine.
Wes?
I don't have any problems, but I'd like to add a little more comment to the housing law there. When I was CEO, the tiny houses just beginning to come in, and wasn't in effect. And because I have a problem in Cornish, I could see what's going to lie ahead. If something like that happens, but, you know, they have a tiny house and their son or some relative moves into it, I made up a questionnaire, to go along with the permit of getting that tiny house established there, like, who's gonna live there, is he a relative, and so on and so forth, but one of the questions I said, in case that you get divorced, or die, or decide to move yourself, do you have a will in place as to what's gonna happen to that? I said, I don't have to know what's in the will, but do you have one executed? That's very important, because it's just gonna be a mess. I had one over in Cornish, where they had a roll-on house at the front edge of the lot, they had a nice ranch, and they were trying to sell it. But the relative or I don't know, remember, uncle wouldn't move out. And the bank wouldn't take a mortgage with that other house in there. If anybody wanted to buy it, had to buy cash. Well, that uncle died, and within 3 days, the uncle's son or something moved in. They had a squatter's problem. Well, finally, it ended up, whoever bought it for cash, and would allow that one to stay there for a while. But those issues do happen, so you have to handle it. You're gonna expand into 3 residences, another house or something to try to keep things smooth later on down the road.
You just make a stipulation, you can't die.
I have that
There you
problem
go.
with a single house on a single lot. David Sargent Jr.'s house. Since he died, nobody's lived there. His wife and kids left. They were down in Saco, I think. The house is just there, and once in a while somebody puts some more boards over the windows,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
derelict houses don't do any town any good.
Right, yeah, right. That's like that place when you go over to Wyndham, right there before Patch's store, or the one that.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at the, and it's a beautiful house, and it's fine, you're thinking, something's going on here. Some family member is ticked off, and nobody wants to, but it's beautiful.
The one's up for sale.
Yeah, it was briefly.
Yeah.
I don't know what
No,
the structure would be like, all those vines.
Oh, it's gotta be bad, it's pulling windows out of it.
Yeah.
Great location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not really, but okay.
Yeah.
Close to everything.
Anything else, Lyle?
Nope.
Okay, Don?
I'm just, curious as to what the status of the shoreline protection map is.
We haven't heard anything.
I would love to know that myself.
Yeah.
Pete Herron is gonna be this week, and then
Yeah.
the rest of next week. so.
We're getting a lot of, activity in the planning board on that.
Mhm.
And, I know the last meeting, it was really unclear as to what the limits of the resource protection area was. And,
Right.
Myself, I was not clear as to what set the limits for the new map.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be the edge of the freshwater? Is it, where is that even? And how's that being determined? And I'm just wondering what the status was. Is there a committee that's looking at this? If there is, I'd like to be involved with it.
Yeah. No, we'll just have to check with him, see where at all that.
I mean, it's really a hot topic.
Yeah.
Planning board lately.
Oh, yeah.
And, to me, it was really, I was uneasy with it at the last planning board meeting. We actually approved it that it was back to the 75-foot buffer on the stream. But looking at that particular piece of property on the map, there's a wetlands area that's quite large.
Yep.
And it was the opinion that some of that was forested wetlands. Our ordinance, our shoreline protection ordinance says forested wetlands are not included as part of wetlands.
Yep.
You go back to the state, legislative Title 38, it says that they are. And it's up to the town gets home rule on that.
Yep.
The way we wrote it though is the forested wetlands are not part of wetlands.
Well, it didn't say that, it says they're not part of the resource protection area, which, it's slightly different words and it means slightly different things.
That's what it does, and to me, and I need some understanding on it.
Yeah, it's very complicated stuff.
Yeah, and, I'd like to be involved with any of this discussions that, if there's a committee, I'd like to be involved.
Okay, all right, that's a good one.
The,
chair of the planning board spot is open. Don?
Not for me. They're for you.
I've tried that once, I'm not gonna.
Well, it's an impossible position until the planning board feels that it has the support of the selectmen, and I think that would be the opinion of the planning board right now, that we do not have the support of the selectmen.
Really?
Yes. Well, we had, Mr. Fricker come in 2 or 3 meetings, 4 meetings ago, I forget, and tell you about the kind of disrespect we got from the code enforcement officer. We have a code enforcement officer who won't speak to us and acts like that, and I have people coming to me telling me what the code enforcement officer says about me, which is unpleasant at best. And I don't hear of any selectman going and disciplining him for his behavior. And I feel very strongly that we're not supported by the selectmen. That's why, one of the strong reasons why I said, I can't continue to be chair of this committee. I'm in an impossible situation as a chair.
What kind of discipline do you think?
Well, I think you'd say, shape up, go to the meetings, listen to them, talk with them, exchange ideas back and forth, not just say, I'm the only one who's right. Nobody else can be right, which is what he's saying right now. And I'm hearing that he doesn't really pay attention to what the ordinances are. I only hear second and third hand, so I don't know. But because I can't hear firsthand, I am prohibited by him from hearing firsthand, and you guys should be telling him to talk to him. Seems to me, if you supported this, that's where it would go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah, you know, at least I said it,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah. Chad, you got it?
Yeah, I got a problem with my guy. I tell him when, like at noon time, he don't show up at noon time. He does not call me why he don't come in or what's going on. And, he just ain't communicating at all with me. And he's already struck, I could say he struck out 3 times already, because he has done this 3 times already, without letting me know what's going on with him and everything. So, hopefully.
Shows up late or not shows up at all, is that what he said?
Well, I have him come in, like, he asked me, like, what time are we in? I say, like, noon time. So he says, well, I'll be at noon time. But he doesn't show up at all.
Okay.
He's been in, and I've talked to him a couple of different times, and he's been very proactive about obtaining information, you know, to send out to people, should there be, question about, whether or not people have permission, you know, to be at the beach. You know, for instance, if they're not a Baldwin resident, we got some information together about other beaches that they could, you know, pay to go to, a handout that basically has the beach rules, and, you know, he's sent a couple of different people back for beach stickers, so he's looking for, in my opinion, like, resolution type approach to certain situations. You know, if they don't have a sticker, he's redirecting them here when we're open, and like I said, we've had conversations about other counters to go, so I'm not getting that same feedback from him. Is he, in terms of contact with telephone, I have to leave messages for him to call me back, so I don't, you know, I haven't pointedly asked him if he's got like trouble with cell phone service or whatnot, but he's always returned my calls. I don't know if, you know, we asked that they coordinate times in terms of, beach times, but I don't know if they've actually been written in stone in terms of what our expectations are for, people to work. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of varied. Obviously, if it's raining, they don't need to be there. You know, in terms of, we just kind of let them work it out. I don't know if it's, maybe we didn't impress upon him, you know, specific times that he had to be there. We did mention, you know, that if Chad works the the mornings, then maybe he works sometime in the afternoon. But I don't know if people have to be there from sunup to sundown, you know, 7 days a week either. So I don't, it's kind of, it hasn't been that rigid in the past in terms of, we just kind of mix it up a little bit. Certainly when it's hot and humid like this, it's gonna be busier. You know, I've heard that it's been, the beach is real busy, so I don't know what your expectations are, but I mean, if you have some, then I can certainly communicate that to him. He's been very receptive to.
Yeah. Yeah, you do that, and I'll speak down this weekend, and I'll talk to him about it. My plan was, we wanted a meeting to have them come up with a job description, but nobody's getting motivated to do a meeting. And Ben's been trying to get Emily to take the chairman job, but, you know, to spearhead it, so I don't know where it's going.
But, I mean, there aren't unlimited funds to have somebody there from sunup till sundown,
Right.
obviously. So in the past, we've kind of been, it's been more of a relaxed approach where, you know, you kind of
But we've also been trying to mix it up so they don't
Yeah.
have set hours, and people know
Exactly.
that, well, we'll come at after a certain time.
Yeah, I mean, and it's work, and, so, he asked about incident report sheets, and I gave a bunch to, Chad, but they've gone missing, so we need to sort that out, and,
Yeah.
and get in some of those, but, I mean, he's got past experience with working, as park ranger stuff, so, with very busy beaches, so he,
You know who came up with that, was one of the committee men, this Mill, I don't know when, I'll ask Dan this weekend. I think she's the one that came up with those, I had come up with a set of them before that.
we've had two different versions,
Right,
so,
yeah, I think she came up with the newest one,
yeah.
so I think that's probably the one you're looking for.
So if we're all on the same page, or in terms of, does he need set hours, does Chad need set hours, I don't know,
Who's gonna call him and ask him? You're gonna call him and ask him what,
Robert, that's who it is.
you're gonna do it, Robert? Okay. I think that's what we need to do, is just call him and ask him why he's not.
Are you upset?
No, the movie Diary.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Emily came and got them.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, I have to put them in.
Oh, you did, good, thank you. Robin, Mary? Bob?
I won't be at the budget meeting tomorrow, but I will send you, all the spreadsheet.
Okay.
Took all the stuff that we worked on before and plugged it in. I've gotten some more data, you've seen the traffic, traffic.
Yeah. Yeah, I took what we did last week and kind of went down the list and added to the 26th budget.
Yeah.
And so far, we were kind of like, 200,000 last year, but that's without the fuel in.
Yeah. Sorry, I got hanging around.
Oh, yeah.
I did find my little cheat sheet for, the trio, report, the Kennedy report, so they like expense report and something that you wanted ahead of time, print it off, let me know.
Well, we need it until after the end of the fiscal year.
Sales, Danny?
Yeah, good.
Executive session, I move the board, select board. Oh, sorry.
I'd like to take a slightly different tack on the planning board CEO relationship, because it's just gone from bad to worse, okay? And I don't necessarily believe that the selectmen are not supporting the planning board.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the situation has just gotten toxic.
We're getting it from both sides.
I know, and I remember when Mike first started, and like Robin said, intrinsically, he's a good man, a nice man. He was very helpful. He would go make copies and everything, and, there were a few meetings where, it just spiraled.
Mm-hmm.
And, when things get that bad, what do? You can't, we've got a situation now where he's taken every opportunity he has to badmouth the planning board, and the planning board is returning the favor. And that's just, at a certain point, it's childish.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, I would say we have a new opportunity here, okay? Joe had his fill, and he resigned. Now, I'm gonna gag him here, and,
Hope he didn't like your nose of that.
He did. And, what I would suggest is that, you know, we've got a new CEO coming on board. But, I mean, you said that Mike is gonna be, counseling him and training him for maybe another year. And we need to get to a point where Mike is coming back to the planning board meetings. And David is the de facto chair now, but he said that with his travel, he can't, be there all the time. And he asked me if I would help him, you know, if I would, take over as chair for a day when he can't make it, and I said that I would. So what I would ask the selectmen is to, you know, apologize to Mike that things have gotten this bad. Tell him that the planning board would like to start over fresh.
Okay.
We would like him to come to an evening, you know, a planning board meeting. David and I will be the co-chairs, and we'll commit to trying to work out interpretation of ordinances if there are differences of opinion or things to work out. But if we don't do that, you know who suffers? The town suffers.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are depending on the CEO and the planning board to work together. And that's not what we're supposed to be doing. So I would just ask that, you know, we're all big boys, we gotta suck it up and try and find a way to work together and let the bad stuff go and try and do what's right for the town. And I'm sure David would want the same thing. We just have to work together. You know, it's just like,
Agreed.
you know, it's just
Extend the
like
hours,
the comprehensive plan, you know, there are differences of opinion and stuff like that, and you just have to dialogue and work to come up with a good product. Because, you know, we can do it. If we work at it. You think?
Absolutely. You just said what I said, but differently. Thank you, you're much nicer than I am.
So.
Point taken, for sure.
What's that?
Point taken.
Yeah, let's stop. I'm a damn good archer, you know, and I think we should stop shooting arrows at each other. So thank you.
Well, if somebody gets a bitter taste in their mouth about an individual or somebody, either side, it's hard to get that taste out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I care about the town,
Yeah.
and that's what's been too bad in all of
And because the really important thing here is we have a new CEO coming on board. And if the new guy gets, you know, it's really unfair to him to walk into a situation where you have a chronically dysfunctional relationship between the CEO and the planning board.
That's one reason why I asked them to get the planning board meeting.
So we gotta make things work so we can get off on building a good relationship with this new guy, and to do that, we have to, you know, start afresh with Mike.
Yeah. Yep, okay,
Thank you.
yep. Anything else? All right, so executive session, I move the select board will executive session pursuant to one MRSA section 405, 6K, personnel matters.
Second.
All in favor?
Make my move to